What is going on, guys? It's Reflex here, and sorry if my voice sounds a little annoying and stuff. It's because I think I am getting sick, which isn't the greatest to happen, or in these times. So I'm just gonna take good care of myself. But I do want to talk about Ghost of Tsushima. Now, this game I want to talk about because I platinumed this game. Maybe I want to say 6 days ago, and man, this is going to be my review of the game, by the way. But man, this game was it was amazing. Now what you guys are going to be seeing on the screens is the final 3 trophies that I needed to get. One was to complete all the side quests, which I had a little bit of trouble. There was some that just wasn't popping up that I had to look up, like what was the reasons why. And then also was finding the 10 hidden altars, which I did 10 of them, but for some reason it didn't work, so that's why you're gonna see an extra one. Like, I'm only showing, I think, like the last 2, but there was I guess 12 total, and you only had to do 10, and I ended up doing all 12 because of the fact that for some reason it just didn't count. But then I did the final shrine, and let me just tell you that there is not a better way to cap off a game than getting a platinum, walking out to the sunset or the sunrise, and having Jin by himself. He's the one that did this. I didn't make him do it, but I was just walking out trying to make the camera all cinematic because I only had one shot at it. And then he's looking out towards the sun and it's rising, and I have the platinum, and then it just fades out. And that was literally, when you see the shrine, that is the last like 2 minutes and maybe 30 seconds of the game that I ended up playing. Now, about the game as a whole, and I'm gonna be very biased, but I'm gonna try to keep my review of it non-biased. Now, I'm gonna say, was it a perfect game? No, there's a few things that kind of not really hindered the game greatly, but the camera, for instance, the camera was it was a thing that did sometimes get in the way of the game and sometimes got a little bit annoying, but it didn't really happen for me too often. But I did see what happens for other people, and even I think Caleb City made a thing about the game, which it wasn't titled about Ghost of Tsushima, but it was kind of hinted towards it. But a lot of people had trouble with the camera, which is understandable. And then also the targeting system, sometimes even though you do aim somewhere when there's a lot of enemies, it sometimes doesn't go to the one you want, which I mean kind of makes sense a little bit, because if there's a ton of enemies, it's going to be hard to exactly pinpoint who you're aiming at. Because I mean, there was an instance where I had like, at least I would just sometimes take the time to gather up everyone inside a fortress, and then freaking just like, I would just be in the middle of all of them and then start having my little anime moment where I'm just trying to kill every single person, parrying every single one. And I mean, it was fun. But other than those 2 instances, the game as a whole, the story, I found amazing. And we're going to get into some spoilers. Really, the only spoiler is going to be the ending. But still, if you do not want to hear spoilers, I would say forward at least 2 minutes into the video and you'll be safe. But we're getting to spoilers right now. So the whole story as a whole, it did tell a true story, but with fictional kind of spins on it. But I enjoyed it because I did read up on Ghost of Tsushima way before. Like, as soon as they announced this game, I kind of read up on some stuff before. Like 7 months ago, I read up on some stuff, and I knew that Jin Sakai, Lord Shimura was not a real. They were not real. Those were the fictional part, and the whole ghost. I mean, in all reality, Japan didn't even like win in Tsushima. The Mongols actually did take it over, but a storm was the reason that the Mongols lost, which is kind of hilarious, because you can kind of say that Jin Sakai, he was symbolized, like his symbolism in the game as the ghost is more kind of like as the storm that took out the Mongols and pretty much made them lose the war as a whole, which was cool. I enjoyed the fact that that's the spin they took on it. But then you get to the end and you have a choice to spare Lord Shimura or honor his wishes. And I never sat at a screen that had a decision for so long, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be one of those where they decided to make the decision for me, but I ended up killing him because I thought in that situation, I mean, the story was great up until that point. I mean, it was still great to that point, but I got to that decision, and it took me a second, but I was just thinking, obviously Jin, even though he didn't forego all his honor, like he still lives by that code, but he's, as he said to Lord Shimura, he's not a slave to it. So when I took that, when I was thinking about if I was in Jin Sakai's shoes, I was like, well, I want to honor my father, even though that's not his father. But he did say, if you decide to kill him, he does say, like, I would have loved to be your son, you know, and all this and that, which I would think, because more than likely, if you spare him, he would probably kill himself to give him his honor, or the Shogun would kill him. Like, regardless, I feel like if you don't give him his wishes and kill him with honor, he's probably going to end up dying anyways. But when it came down to it, I was just like, okay, this is his final wishes of honor. Prove yourself, you know, show that you still have that lingering part of honor inside you. And I decided to do it, and I gotta say, it was the perfect ending because of the fact that it was the most emotional ending. I knew that I was gonna be hit by some emotions as soon as I did it, but then once I actually hit kill him, I was like, and then they had that beautiful moment of him actually claiming him as his dad, and he was like, and you would be my, and this and that. I got emotional with it, but the story was amazing. The combat was flawless in my opinion. It was the most funnest time I've had in so long with a game, and it happened to be like, I don't know how to explain how it felt. It was like Assassin's Creed if Assassin's Creed had good combat, in my opinion, because it didn't feel like everything was done for you. You had to have the knowledge of when to use what stance, and you know, parrying, dodging. There was so many different ways to go about fighting. The stealthiness of the ghost, being the honor and standoff of a samurai, the duels in the games. I mean, there was just so much in the game with the combat that it was just so fun, and that was my favorite aspect of it. But then you have the photo mode. I would say in my whole entire playthrough, there was at least 2 hours worth of photo mode that I spent just trying to take cool pictures. Or even not even taking the picture. I would just find a cool spot and just take a look at it. Like, man, this is beautiful. This game is legit beautiful. Like, you could hit photo mode almost at any moment in the game, and you would find a perfect photo where it just looks beautiful. Like, that's just how the game was. I don't understand how a game could look that beautiful, because just imagine, PS4 is ending it on such a high note. Because I mean, the game just looks stunning, and going into the PS5, as long as the performance of the PS5 is there, I don't really care if they update the graphics at all. But if that's where Ghost of Tsushima stands right now, imagine in the future when they decide to make another samurai game, and maybe they take the reins of telling the stories of the samurais during the 1500s with Nobunaga, Ieyasu Tokugawa, Hideyoshi Toyotomi, like all these legend, or even Musashi Miyamoto. They could just make a whole entire samurai game of just him alone, the legendary samurai. But like, imagine on the PS5 what that game is gonna look like. Like, that's just gonna be crazy, because I seen some pictures that people were taking. It damn well near looks like a freaking like real life photo when they were just taking pictures of some flowers, the grass, just the overlook of the game, you know, like the world. And it was just like, wow, this game is breathtaking. But that was I just always love photo modes in any game, but for that game in particular, it was just amazing. And then I plan on doing another playthrough, but doing it in probably the Japanese film style, to where it's going to be in Japanese. It's going to have that look of a Japanese film, and I'll probably put subtitles on, but it's just going to look nice. And I plan on doing another playthrough, because they actually did introduce another difficulty, which I think they called it lethal, and they said everything is lethal, not just you, or not just your enemies, but also you are even more lethal as well. So I feel like it could be more fun doing it like that. I might stream it, I might not, but I don't think there's any the customization, the completing, I would say this, the side parts of the game felt amazing. It was the first time that a game that I completed did not feel like a hassle. I tried to do this with The Last of Us Part 2, but just trying to complete the game was so boring to the point where I was just like, all right, I ain't really about this. I ain't about to do it. But with Ghost of Tsushima, it got to the point where I was just like, what's next? The side missions, legitimately, or I should say the Tales of Tsushima, was even more amazing than almost the story, because you had Lady Masako and Ishikawa, Yuna, and even Kenji's Tales, or Norio's Tales was even better. I think Norio probably had the best tales out of all of them, in my opinion. Like, it'd probably be him, and then Lady Masako, but they both had like amazing tales when it came to their missions. I love them because you had one that was fighting kind of his way, and seeing it was kind of like seeing him teeter between, it was kind of like Jen's story almost, but seeing him teeter between the way he was brought up and seeing if he was going to change throughout. And then Masako was just a whole revenge story. It was literally The Last of Us 2 but packed into 9 side missions. And I was like, man, and I mean, arguably, in my opinion, it was done better. It was. I mean, I loved both games drastically, but there's something that hit really good about Lady Masako's Tales of Tsushima. Like, they were just, it was so good. I ain't gonna get into them. I feel like if you guys want to try to complete the game, I suggest doing these side quests because they are just amazing. Now, the platinum was just really simple, like I said, but when you put everything together, minus my bias, I'm giving this game a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. Perfectly. Like I said, it's just easy like that. Like, I feel like I can't give it anything lower. The combat really wasn't an issue with like the targeting for me, but the camera was the issue, and that's where I gotta deduct a point. Now, if you add my bias in there, this is an easy 10 out of 10, but regardless, this is game of the year. And I don't see another game beating this game, to be honest. Will it happen? It could be. Cyberpunk could knock it out of the park, but I don't think Last of Us 2, I don't think Final Fantasy VII Remake could really beat this game. This was a great game. This was a game that kind of, I want to say, it flew under some people's radars a little bit, because I did see some people's like, I don't really see what's so hype about this game, and that's because not many people were really hyping it up except, you know, a given part of the community. But it was just fun. It was a very, very fun game. Shouts out to Sucker Punch for, you know, stepping into the ring, trying to make something they never made before, and ended up making a masterpiece of a game. And yeah, I'm willing to call it a masterpiece because it was an amazing game. A masterpiece always has its flaws, and I mean, this did have its flaws, but goddamn was it a good ass game. But yes, for me, it's going to be, you know, if you put in my bias but also count on the flaws, at least got to be a 9.5 at an average for me. I did enjoy the game that much. But let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this game. Did you enjoy it? Did you complete it? You know, what's your thoughts on it? But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and you guys know the drill. I will see you guys later.